Hello, my name is Ethan and welcome back to another episode of Path of Exile Blight League. In this episode, I plan to discuss a few different variations of the build. To start, I'd like to talk about the combination for the physical version of this build, Pride plus Vulnerability Curse on hit from the gloves, along with Punishment as the additional curse for the second curse we would apply. I tested out this build variation, and I'll talk about it in the video. I also tried out a bunch of different defensive auras. I tried out a bunch of different options. I used a different Pantheon. Instead of Lunaris, I've tried out Solaris so that I took extra reduced crit damage, and I didn't take any extra crit damage after being hit for a crit and all this stuff, because basically I fought a Lich that has 41% crit multi and was one-shotting me, so I tested out a bunch of different variations to try to stop this thing from one-shotting me, and it worked. But it didn't work to the point that I beat the encounter. It was just that I got closer. So I hope you guys do enjoy this episode, and maybe you learned something. This isn't hitting Delve Depth 1300, sadly, but obviously if I can't hit 1300 and I'm having some issues in the Delve, then I looked to make upgrades to the build, and I don't want to make upgrades to the build without discussing them with the viewers in the community and everyone who's been following the build. So I think this is super cool, and yeah. Today I couldn't get past this. I need to show this off. So basically, we finished off yesterday's video reaching 1250, and then we pointed out how it's so cool. We have this Lich at 1257. It's not very cool. It has a crit multi, and it has a laser beam that when it gets to like 50% HP, it starts to laser beam and it shoots instant, and it melts me. I tried a bunch of stuff to beat it. Can't beat it. Over here, can't beat this strongbox encounter for some reason. I don't know why. Though, like the extra cold, extra lightning, it one-shots me. If you notice, I have to go up this way to go around, or I have to go through the Lich, or I had to go all the way around to here, yeah? And then I found this Abyssal Depth beyond. This one-shots all of my zombies, my AG, and my Spectres. Okay, then we have this, where I can loop through here, just to get past the Lich. You see how it finally loops me past the Lich? So let me just show this. This Lich made me do this to get past it. So we're gonna take a while to get past the 1250, okay? Yeah, I didn't do it in time, but I spent a lot of time on trying to beat the Lich. So let me show you first thing I tested that I can tell you about. So I bought the gloves with vulnerability on hit. This was 1.3x. I made it 3 red, 1 blue. The reason for that is you can run War Banner, Generosity Support, summon Skitterbots, and then instead of Hatred, you can run Pride. So the reason to run Pride is nearby enemies take at least 19% more physical damage. Okay, so you're full physical if you take out Hatred, by the way. It's physical and chaos on the zombies. So vulnerability, pride, and then punishment. So your two curses are punishment and vulnerability. The damage goes from like 500,000 to like 600 and something thousand, and that's not even counting Skitterbots yet, and that's per zombie. So you start to reach some really stupid damage numbers. Now this is what I realized. We're not having damage issues, guys. I don't need more damage. I need to survive, and I need my shit to survive. So, pride, punishment, that whole thing's terrible. It's worse than using enfeeble temp chains. 100% it's worse just based on the curses. Then on top of that, hatred's just better than pride because of EE. It takes less investment and it does more. Okay. Yeah, that sums up that. Okay. Alright, so then the next thing I tried is Temporal Chains Gloves. Well, actually, first I switched to this chest plate. I made a new chest plate. So 12% increased strength. I crafted life, crafted zombie, and increased attributes. So basically the same thing as my normal chest plate, but instead of the extra curse, I crafted life. So if you don't want double curse, you can go this chest plate. So then in this chest plate, I did double temporal chains. So I had temporal chains in the glove, temporal chains in the chest plate, and the reason was that if I didn't hit them with the cyclone to apply the temporal chains, I could then use the backup option of casting damage taken to apply temporal chains. The reason why we did temporal chains, first this was Enfeeble, and I tried double Enfeeble, and I have red Enfeeble, and it lowers their crit chance and like something else, and I was like, that doesn't actually cover every encounter. Temporal Chains has a more like universal good effect because the new way I was going to run this build was I'm not going to get one shot and I need to tank the hits, and so I want to slow their attack speed down and action speed down. So after that didn't work, and 2 curses does 100% feel better than 1 curse, so Enfeeble plus Temp Chains is definitely better. The next thing, I tried out Determination. What's Determination? You and nearby allies gain 51% more armor. So then, on top of that Determination, you can run this Watcher's Eye. 692 armor while affected by Determination. You take 40% reduced extra damage from critical strikes while affected by Determination. So you may ask, why is that really good? Well, when I found this Lich, it has crit multi of 41%. So when you take 40% less extra damage from crits because you have this Watcher's Eye for Determination, what was one-shotting me does not one-shot me anymore. I was actually able to tank hits from this Lich. I proved to myself that changes I was making were significant enough to actually stop this thing from killing me. So I took him down to about 30% HP, and I had a real chance. He laser beamed me. There was no chance. It's like RNG, does he laser beam me or not? Because that thing doesn't seem to care. Temporal Chains doesn't seem to affect it. Enfeeble didn't seem to care. That thing just wants to kill me. Okay, so Determination was the first thing. The reason is, when you don't run Hatred, War Banner, and Skitterbots, we still have 338,000 DPS per zombie, so our DPS is still like 5.4 million for the 17 zombies, and we don't even have a damage issue losing Hatred, Skitterbots, and the War Banner, and this is without EE. Yep. So then the next thing I tried was Determination plus Flesh and Stone, because Flesh and Stone in Sand Stance gives you 11% less damage from attacks from enemies that aren't near you, and then you also blind anyone who is actually in it by 50% or something. So I figured more evasive, and the monsters who attack me from range that off screen me, well, I'm gonna take 11% less. And then I realized that, hey, thanks for summon, Martin. I realized that this is from attacks only and not spells, and there's also spells fucking me up, so this is just useless. The next thing I tried is then Purity of Ice. So Purity of Ice would then raise my maximum cold res from the 76 from Soul of Steel to 80, and then I would be able to get my cold res from Purity of Ice, so then I'd be overcapped with Spirit Offering by a lot. If you notice, I'm at 74, go to 97, add Purity of Ice, I go to like 130. If I ran Purity of Fire, so there was a combination I did where Where's my Purity of Fire? Here, Purity of Fire. You could also raise your fire res to 80 max, and then you'd be overcapped on fire too, so you could pull lots of fire and cold res from the build. For example, there's fire res on the amulet, so I could save a suffix, and there's cold res on a boot, so I could save a suffix. Okay, so the next thing is, if you run Purity of Fire, Purity of Ice, and Determination, this is too much mana reserve. You'll notice 70, well, 35, 35, and 50. So 70 plus 30 plus 50 is 120. The way I did this is I bought an Enlightened 4 for 3.6x, and that is enough reduction to allow you to use this if you take, I believe, these 4 nodes on the tree. I don't know if I had to do that or I tried to do something else. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure I had to take these 4 nodes. So I also had to sacrifice like this whole. I had tried out this whole area, tried out taking out this, and like using this curse stuff up here to affect the auras, to change the auras I was using. And basically I make all these changes, I get this cold res and fire res, and I'm tanking more hits, but then what's instead happening is now my base armor, when my potions are down, isn't high enough, and I'm just dying to physical hits, which is even worse than dying to random stray attacks from fucking off screen, because now I was just dying to everything. So I significantly made the build worse once I made those changes. It's like Determination was almost an upgrade, right? Just against crit because of the 40% reduced extra damage from crits. Other than that, it just seemed worse. The reason I tried Purity of Fire, Purity of Ice was when I looked at hardcore characters. Almost every single top hardcore delver for Necro was using Purity of Fire and Ice. So that's interesting. The other thing is then this leaves room for... Okay. Alright, so now let me explain from the top all the things available in the build. So currently, the damage in the build without the auras. Okay, so if I take out Hatred, Skitterbots, Generosity, and War Banner, if I take out Desecrate, Spirit Offering, cast when damage taken, Molten Shell, Increased Duration, Temporal Chance, Spirit Offering, Desecrate, Cyclone, and Castle Channeling. So I could lose all the gems from the glove, chest plate, and boots. Okay? I have 338,000 DPS in this build on each zombie without any of this. So I pose... Well, actually, it's with Spirit Offering active. My bad. So basically... I propose that I have so much room to add defensive layers to the build that I'm almost 100% sure I can go deeper. I'm just unsure what I should be going for, because I almost feel like I have to have a defensive layer for every single bad encounter that I possibly find, and then there's like different variations of build forms to beat different combinations of encounters, because like how I pointed out, Determination with that Watcher's Eye could help you against crit. Well, it doesn't help you against everything else. Yeah, so this is where we have options like one is using the Cyclone, Castle Channeling, Desecrate, Spirit Offering, using a level 21 Cyclone so that it isn't triggered by the cast when damage taken, so that you can actually use the Cyclone to trigger the Castle Channeling to trigger the Spirit Offering Desecrate. So this combination is 5 links, and you're left with an open link. So then the open link could be used for Temporal Chains, which would mess up your Cyclone so that you'd have a third thing to trigger, or you could use like Fortify, since we don't have Fortify from a Kingmaker from our Animated Guardian right now, because we keep killing him and we don't want to keep having to re-gear a Kingmaker. It's really interesting. You could infuse Channeling since you have a 6th link on your Cyclone. The thing that this does is it frees up 2 sockets, because we have double Spirit Offering, double Desecrate for no reason, when I think we can do this a better way where we save 2 sockets. Alright, just showing I entered a Superior Blighted Crimson Temple, 6 Blight Chests are lucky. We're going to go in here. I'm going to then talk about the build. talk about what I'm going to talk about in the video, and all of that stuff, and we'll show the loot of this map at the end, just because I like doing this on every single video now. So I just wanted to show this was the whole, this is how much I made from the whole map. There was nothing like a big drop to really show off, but the big drops I'd like to point out. 3/20th of an Ancient Orb, a Harbinger Orb, 8 Chaos, 4 Regals, 3 Stack Decks, an Incubator, all this extra currency and stuff. These essences sitting on the ground. I call this a break-even map. I didn't have anything insane. We got 1 Marika Splinter, like nothing too crazy. This was the loot, and this is the first one where I go, okay, you see, this is the one where I'm like, it could have been better, but when you add on top of it all of the insane ones, if you only showed this, it looked kind of bad for the maps, right? But when you can include all of the other ones, including the Goldens and all that, or an earlier map, I got an Exalted and a Silver Oil, like, it's insane. It was like 2 Opalescents, 3 Blacks, a Silver, and an Exalted. Like, what the heck, dude? I'm doing another map to end the video, because after now going over everything, I need an outro. As always, I did the other one for the intro to start us off. I added in the clip to showcase what the extra loot was, but yeah, showcase a white map, 3 teal oil, let's showcase the loot at the end, and let's also talk about this, no. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this episode of Path of Exile Blight League. I'm super sorry that this wasn't what you probably expected as the next video. Obviously, most people watching the series are going to expect that, oh, you hit 1300, 1350, 1400, 1450. I didn't expect this kind of a issues so soon. It was almost like 1250 was a threshold I passed, and now it's just fucking hard for the current build. So, sorry to disappoint, but I hope you guys have enjoyed and continue to support the channel. We will continue to try our best to pass this. And if we can't pass it with this character, then I will try to make another one that can perform better. Hopefully, with the help from the community, we'll be able to figure out how to get this character to at least 2,000, because people are saying that Juggernauts can make it to 2k, then they start to have some trouble. So let's get to 2k on a Necromancer. That's the goal now. Instead of hitting the same thing as the TS builds, I think our realistic goal should be 2k. Okay. And I'd like to thank my patrons who financially support the channel while we AFK this tier 13 blighted map, Infested Valley. So thank you to my Patreon supporters, White Wolf, Tridnex, and Starscream, and my YouTube members, Garbar, Tridnex, White Wolf, Farkbone, Kirby, and Jun. Thank you guys for all the support on the channel. You guys mean a lot to me, and it's been helping a lot. Appreciate all support. And you too today can support for only for as little as 99 cents, and I appreciate all support, and your name will be added at the end of the video. Thank you. And I'll add in the loot at the end. Hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Hopefully, 300 delve depth. 1,300. 1,300 delve depth. Yes. Holy shit, that's a lot of stacked decks. What the fuck? Oh! Useless. Oh! This is the inventory of loot. So yeah, gilded sulfite, a couple crimson. No, we got a crimson. We got a diviner's incubator. All these fossils, all this stuff. It was a really profitable map. 7 stack decks. So to show the variation from the first one being not great to this insane map. Hope you guys have enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. See ya.